When will the US recession end? Most economists say late 2020 or early 2021. Many economists assume the downturn may want to get worse earlier than it starts off, evolved to enhance. A majority of economists anticipate the US to emerge from the coronavirus-induced recession, the worst downturn in almost a century, via both late 2020 or someday in 2021. In accordance to a survey launched Monday, about 2/3 of economists, surveyed by way of the National Association for Business Economics, stated they agree with the financial system is nonetheless in the recession that started in February. 35% of these respondents suppose the recession will quit in the second half day of 2020, whilst 34% do not count on that going until 2021. But many economists suppose the downturn may want to get worse earlier than it begins to improve. 4 in 5 respondents stated they see at least a 25% danger of a double-dip recession. The survey of 235 contributors used to be carried out between late July and early August, when a resurgence of COVID-19 instances throughout the United States of pressured most states to pause or reverse their reopenings, igniting fears that the nation's early restoration was once already stalling out. Infection prices have, when you consider that, declined in accordance to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Only 18% of economists consider the labor market will return to pre-crisis stages in 2021. Most assume the jobs recuperation to take years. 41% assume payroll to regain their February degree someday in 2021, whilst 34% assume it might not manifest earlier than 2023. Over the previous 3 months, the economic system has introduced again less than half of, about 42% of the 22 million jobs it misplaced throughout the pandemic. Statistics shows there are nevertheless 10.6 million greater out-of-work Americans than in February. The unemployment level, at its very best in decades, is predicted to continue to be multiplied as social distancing pointers are stored in vicinity whilst states battle a resurgence in COVID-19 cases. Compounding economists' gloomy outlook on the labor market's recuperation is their expectation for the nation's beleaguered businesses. Some 40% of respondents stated that all commercial enterprise closures all through the disaster will possibly be permanent. The findings come amid a high-stakes deadlock between White House officers and pinnacle Democrats over some other spherical of emergency aid. The largest factor of competition between the two events is the rate tag. Democrats have presented to come down $1 trillion from the roughly $3 trillion HEROES Act, which the House surpassed in May. But the White House and Republican leaders desire to maintain the fee tag nearer to $1 trillion amid developing worries over the nation's ballooning deficit. A majority, about 52%, of economists stated the perfect measurement for the rules is at least $1.5 trillion. The pandemic has induced the worst monetary disaster in dwelling memory, yet Americans have been greater downbeat about the kingdom of the financial system for the duration of the Great Recession than they are now. And you've learned about from the Pew Research Center says 69% of Americans assume the modern financial scenario is bad, whilst 30% suppose it is good. By comparison, solely 17% idea the financial system was once in top form in 2009, the worst 12 months of the Great Recession. That's striking due to the fact, with the aid of a lot of metrics, the cutting-edge downturn is a lot worse than years following the economic crisis. Far greater jobs had been lost, unemployment is higher, the financial system shrunk extra sharply, and the authorities is spending more. Check CNN Business Restoration Tracker for greater on these and different results of the pandemic. There are key variations that can also be affecting how Americans see and experience this downturn. The Great Recession was once frequently dubbed men's recession due to the fact so many jobs in male-dominated sectors like manufacturing and building vanished. This time around, job losses have been targeted in the offering zone, mainly in hospitality and tour industries, which hire extra girls than men. The pandemic downturn additionally struck when matters have been commonly going well, growing a sharp evaluation point. It's come on the heels of the longest financial growth in America's history, with the unemployment charge close to a 50-year low in February. The VOG holds some place else in the world, the place Pew surveyed too. A median 67% of Europeans assume the financial system is doing poorly, versus a median 32% who assume the entirety is simply dandy. But as these days as 2013, in the aftermath of the Eurozone sovereign debt crisis, solely 15% thinking their nations' economies have been doing well. Pew surveyed humans in Italy, France, the United Kingdom, Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, and Denmark with broadly various results. In Italy, Spain, France, Britain, and Belgium, the majority of human beings thinking the economic system used to be in horrific shape, and a majority of Americans, Canadians, and Germans assume their nations' economies will enhance once more in the subsequent year. It's the desirable historic hope for a V-shaped recovery described by way of a sharp decline and a fast rebound. Even as jobs are coming returned and manufacturing pastime is recovering, it is too early to inform whether or not the recuperation will absolutely be V-shaped. One tremendous aspect affecting monetary views is public understanding of how the pandemic used to be handled. Those who agree with the COVID-19 response was once negative additionally accept as true with their country's financial system is doing poorly. This is especially real in the United States, the place 87% of humans necessary of the pandemic response trust the economic system is in terrible shape.
Most of the idea, comment, information, and criticism containing in these videos have been created by Daily News Report. Before making any important investment decision, use the information contained in these videos as a starting point for conducting your own research. If you make any investment or legal decision, it is advised to consult an expert before making this decision.